In the eve of Chile's constitutional referendum on October 25, the South American nation experiences social unrest that expresses the political will of the Mapuche, feminist and students organizations, as well as the Chilean people in general. To have a more complete vision of the popular movement in Chile, the meaning of Sunday's referendum and how it will affect Chile's political landscape, we receive our correspondent Alejandro Kirk. Alejandro, be welcome to our program.
Good morning, Gladys. Yes, we are in the final process. There is only 5 days left until the referendum is held on Sunday, October 25th. The new thing that is happening right now is that on Sunday, on the first anniversary of the popular uprising of October 2019, a massive protest was held in Santiago in the already traditional Dignity Square in Midtown Santiago, but also in several working class neighborhoods and also in other places, other cities of the country. This was actually unexpected by the establishment, which had thought that after the pandemic took over the country and the world, the momentum for massive demonstrations was over, and now it was time for the institutions to work a new constitution through the so-called peace agreement reached in November 15th by the political forces represented in parliament, with the exception only of the Communist Party and some dissident members of the wider front or Frente Amplio, a coalition of left-wing groups. So this massive demonstration showed that the spirit of that uprising and the discontent and the will for a new constitution that actually reflects the demands of people for a refundation of this country actually is still there and pretty much alive, even stronger because of the way the government treated this pandemic socially and economically, apart from the fact that Chile is one of the worst countries in the world in respect of this disease compared to the population deaths for 100,000 inhabitants. The way the government faced the pandemic economically left 3 million people unemployed. A figure released today by the Fundación Sol, Sun Foundation, a group that works on economic issues, says that over 11.5 million people are indebted in this country. They own money to banks, and only 7 million of them are employed. So that's more or less a picture of what the social situation is in Chile at this point. So we interviewed Gabriel Salazar, a well-known historian, this week, and he said that while the constitutional process, meaning the plebiscite and a constitutional convention that will be elected after this, which is the result of this political pact, is one way in which things will develop. But other way is a parallel way, a binary way, in which the social organization, territorial assemblies, constitutional assemblies in the territories, in the ground, will go its own way, and this will at one point change everything. That's a hope, of course, it's a speculation, but what we can say is that on this Sunday, the mobilization of people, the demonstrations, even the violence that took place, infiltrators and all kinds of strange things that happened, are showing that the path that was designed by the establishment is not exactly what the future might bring. So that's more or less the way this country is facing this plebiscite on Sunday, whose attendance, the turnout is not clear. Many people who are demonstrating are usually people who have never voted because of this huge mistrust in the political system. So if these people vote, things will be very clear on Sunday, and it might mark a political turning point in the country. That's what territorial organizations,
Yes.
social movements are
Okay.
expecting to happen.
Alejandro, we know that Chile is experiencing an unprecedented process in its history, which is the next plebiscite, of course. And also we know that the social unrest has changed many symbols, many signs, and other willingness, the political willingness in Chile. But also we know that the massive popular mobilizations from 2019 until today, which are being repressed by the government, have been the results of police brutality and other the abuse of forces by the government. We now know that several international reports point to violations of human rights and crimes against humanity during these mobilizations and the protests. Will there this time be revindication of the victims and prosecution of those responsible for these crimes?
Well, that depends pretty much on the turnout. I mean, if the approval for the constitutional change reaches 80 or 90%, obviously will mark a turning point in the political process of this country. The situation of human rights is pretty obscure. The government has been increasing repression, using more intelligence sabotage infiltrators in order to neutralize the popular actions, and probably, an infiltrator was discovered in one working class neighborhood, and his mission, he was a police officer, his mission was to instigate, finance, and participate in violent attacks against police stations in the same neighborhood. So he was always trying to instigate people to burn the police station. So that is the tactics that they are using in order to delegitimize the popular movement. Having said that, 99% of the people who went to the streets were peaceful, and it was a kind of a big carnival. So if the situation of human rights is to be fixed in the sense that no more impunity that Chile has been experiencing since the dictatorship 40 years ago, if that is going to happen, it requires first a huge majority of people voting for the new constitution, and second, that people stay on the streets demanding respect for human rights. This is the binary way I was talking before. The government is trying to neutralize the movement with including even a new intelligence law that will allow, which establishes again the internal enemy, the national security doctrine that was adopted in the 70s by instigation of the United States. So these laws are still there and will be there after the plebiscite, and will be there for the foreseen future that we can see from at this point. So if these laws remain in action, and if there is no radical change of the structure of the country, of course there will be more impunity. But the hope is that what's going to happen is that this huge turnout and the popular mobilization will change things. Even this constitutional convention that is already more or less set up by the establishment will also be changed into a constitutional assembly with full powers to change everything. And that's what is developing right now. So it's impossible to say whether impunity will end, but it is most likely that people will push for that, and without that there will be no peace in Chile. That has been proven already.
Also, Alejandro, just to give our audience a wider view of this topic and regarding this agenda also, analysts point out that the option of approval of the Constitution Convention will win by a wide margin on Sunday, October 15, 25. But however, this is a mechanism that could prevent the initiatives that the majority of this convention approves 100% elected, and that is the 2/3 veto. So we need to know your opinion. What does the 2/3 veto consist, and how does it affect the possibility of approving a new constitution, or the possibilities of a new constitution, and to guarantee the transformation that Chile needs?
Well, this is the trick. In November 15th, the political parties, by the way, the political parties have an approval rate of around 1 to 2% in this country at the moment. These political parties, with the exception, I repeat, of the Communist Party, agreed on a framework which includes a two-thirds majority for approving all new parts of this new constitution. That, in fact, is a veto power for the minority. So what is needed is to have beyond of course, the two-thirds of this constitutional convention, which will be very difficult to achieve, because in the side of the approval, not everybody is in favor. I mean, in the political framework, not everybody is in favor of a refoundation of this country. Many of them want to keep the neoliberal system, which is the core of the matter here, the neoliberal economic system established in the dictatorship of Augusto Pinochet. So the two-thirds is in fact a veto power, and that's exactly what the social movements want to abolish and establish a simple majority in order to approve new rules. That is the trick of this peace agreement that actually saved the Piñera government, which was falling apart in November, and saved the institutional framework in which we are functioning now. So it's all to be seen. It is on the streets. It is on the mobilization of people, of demonstrations and organization of territories. You know, the thousands of constitutional assemblies that are gathering in neighborhoods. It's up to them to change those rules. Otherwise, the danger is that we will come up with a new constitution that is pretty much the same with the new face, cosmetic changes in order to keep the core of this, I repeat, the neoliberal system, and especially the pension fund system, which is the source of funding for main enterprises in this country.